Captain Jihu was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started ringing. He put down his cup and looked at the main screen. Something big had just appeared near Earth. Something very big. "Sir, we have multiple contacts," said Yuna from her station. She was new, only 3 months on the orbital station, but she was good at her job. Counting now. "Looks like about 50 ships. No, wait. More are coming through." Jihu walked closer to the screen. The ships were strange looking. They had too many angles and weird colors. Definitely not human ships. His heart started beating faster. This was it. Real aliens. After all these years of searching, they had finally found humans. Or rather, they had found humans. "How many total?" Jihu asked. "Still counting, sir. Maybe 300? They're arranging themselves in some kind of pattern." "Like a formation," Jihu nodded. "A military formation. That could be good or bad." He pressed the button for the communication channel. "All stations, this is Captain Jihu. We have first contact situation. Everyone stay calm. Follow protocols. No weapons unless I give the order." Around the bridge, his crew moved quickly but carefully. They had trained for this moment. Every person in the Defense Force had trained for this. But training was different from the real thing. The alien ships finished their formation. They looked impressive, Jihu had to admit. They were arranged in neat rows, all facing Earth. Their hulls were dark blue and silver, with lights running along the sides. Whoever these aliens were, they liked to show off. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," said Taeyang from communications. "It's on all frequencies. Audio and visual, put it on screen." The screen changed. An alien face appeared, and Jihu heard someone gasp behind him. The alien had 4 eyes, 2 on each side of his head. His skin was gray with purple spots. 4 arms crossed over his chest. On his head, some kind of crest was glowing red. He wore armor that looked very fancy, with gold decorations everywhere. The alien started speaking. The computer translated his words into Korean, English, and Mandarin at the same time. "Greetings, primitive species of the 3rd planet. I am Supreme Commander Thexler of the Valdorian Empire. We have traveled far to bring you into our glorious civilization. For 10,000 years, the Valdorian Empire has ruled this sector of space with wisdom and power. We bring order to chaos. We bring peace through strength." Jihu glanced at Yuna. She had her hand over her mouth and her shoulders were shaking a little. He gave her a warning look and she tried to control herself. The alien continued. "You are fortunate. The Empire has chosen to extend protection to your world. You will accept our guidance. You will pay tribute to the Empire. You will send representatives to learn our ways. In return, we will defend you from the dangers of space. We will teach you how to be civilized." The alien paused, probably waiting for the humans to be impressed. His forearms spread wide, making him look bigger. "This is not a request. This is how the galaxy works. The strong protect the weak. The wise guide the foolish. We have conquered and absorbed 400 species. We have an invincible armada of 3,000 warships. We have never been defeated in battle. You will submit, or you will face the consequences." Behind Jihu, someone made a strange sound, like a cough mixed with a laugh. Jihu felt his own lips twitching. 3,000 warships. The alien said it like it was the most impressive thing in the universe. Jihu cleared his throat. "Thank you for your generous offer, Supreme Commander. May I ask a question?" The alien looked surprised that Jihu was speaking. "You may ask. These 3,000 warships. That's your entire fleet?" "It is the full might of the Valdorian Empire," the alien said proudly. "Our armada is the largest in known space. Our ships are powerful. Our warriors are brave. No one can stand against us." Jihu bit his lip. He felt Yuna shaking with silent laughter at her station. Taeyang had turned around, his face red from trying not to laugh. Even serious Nari was smiling. 3,000 warships for an entire empire. Earth's home defense fleet alone had 15,000 ships. That wasn't counting colony fleets. That wasn't counting corporate security forces. That wasn't counting the mining companies with their armed haulers. "I see," Jihu said carefully. "How many star systems does your empire control?" The alien's crest glowed brighter. He seemed pleased by the question. "The Valdorian Empire spans 40 glorious star systems. Our territory is vast. Our resources are limitless." Someone behind Jihu made a choking sound. 40 systems in 10,000 years. Humanity had spread to 200 systems in just 80 years. And this alien thought 40 was impressive. Jihu tried very hard to keep his face neutral. This was serious. This was first contact. He couldn't laugh at aliens who were probably very proud of their achievements. It wasn't their fault they didn't know about humanity. Supreme Commander, Jihu said slowly. I think there might be a misunderstanding here. We would like to discuss this situation more carefully. Could we have 24 hours to consult with our government? The alien's four eyes narrowed. What is there to discuss? You submit or face our fleet. Choose now. We're not refusing, Jihu said quickly. We just need time to talk to our leaders. This is a big decision. Surely a wise empire like yours understands the need for proper consideration. The alien seemed to think about this. Very well. You have one rotation of your planet. Then we will return for your answer. Do not try to run. Do not try to fight. The Empire is everywhere. The Empire is eternal. The screen went black. For 3 seconds, the bridge was silent. Then Yuna burst out laughing. She tried to stop, but couldn't. Soon Taeyang was laughing too. Then Nari, then everyone, 3,000 ships! Yuna gasped between laughs. He said it like it was so scary. 40 systems in 10,000 years, Taeyang added, wiping his eyes. My grandmother settled 3 systems by herself. Jihu let them laugh for a minute. They needed it. Then he clapped his hands. Okay. Back to work. This is still serious. We need to contact Earth Command immediately, and someone get me every piece of information we have about that region of space. Sir, Nari said, still smiling. What are we going to tell them? Jihu looked at the screen where the alien fleet waited in their perfect formation. 300 ships visible, probably 3,000 total if the alien was telling the truth. They looked so proud, so sure of themselves. We're going to tell them the truth, Jihu said. We're going to explain that humanity is probably bigger than they thought, and we're going to hope they don't take it badly. Do you think they'll attack? Yuna asked. Jihu shook his head. I don't think so, but I think their pride is going to be very hurt. And that might be worse. He sat back in his chair and picked up his coffee. It was cold now, but he drank it anyway. First contact. This was supposed to be a great moment in human history. Instead, it was turning into the most awkward conversation ever. Somewhere out there, the Valdorian Empire was waiting for humanity to submit in fear. They had no idea what was coming. President Do-hyun looked tired. He had been in meetings for 6 hours straight, and they still hadn't decided what to do about the aliens. The conference room was full of important people, all arguing. We should just tell them to leave, said Admiral Minho, crossing his arms. Send the home fleet. Show them we're not interested. That's too aggressive, Defense Minister Minji said. She was looking at reports on her tablet. We don't want to start a war on the first day of meeting aliens. War? Minho laughed. They have 3,000 old ships. We could sneeze on them and win. That's exactly the problem, said Sora quietly. She was the xenoanthropologist, the expert on alien cultures. Everyone turned to look at her. If we're too strong, we'll scare them. Scared people do stupid things. Do-hyun rubbed his eyes. Sora, what do we know about these Valdorians? Sora stood up and walked to the big screen. She pulled up images of the alien ships. We've been analyzing everything from the transmission. Their technology is old, maybe 30 years behind us. Their ships use fusion drives, not quantum engines. Their weapons are projectile-based, not energy weapons. So they're weak, Minho said. No, Sora said firmly. They're normal. We're the weird ones. She changed the image to show a map of space. Look at this. The Valdorians control 40 systems in this region. That region is very spread out. Not many resources, not many good planets. For them, 40 systems is amazing. They probably worked very hard for 10,000 years to build their empire. And we got 200 systems in 80 years, said Communications Director Hana. Just by throwing money and people at space. Exactly, Sora said. We had a perfect storm of factors. Earth was crowded. We had too many people. We had competing. Nations and corporations all trying to grab territory. We had cheap fusion power. We had robots that could build anything, so we exploded into space like crazy. Minji nodded slowly. Most species probably don't do that. Most species probably develop slower, Sora agreed. They explore carefully. They colonize nearby systems first. They build up their infrastructure over centuries. The Valdorians think they're the biggest power in space because, in their experience, they are. Do-hyun leaned back in his chair. So, when this Supreme Commander shows up at Earth and says he has 3,000 ships, he thinks that's overwhelming force, Sora finished. He probably thinks we'll fall to our knees in terror. He has no idea that Earth alone builds 3,000 ships every 5 years. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone was thinking about the same thing. The Valdorians weren't bad or evil. They were just wrong about everything. How do we tell them? Hana asked. How do we explain that we're accidentally bigger than their entire civilization? Carefully, Do-hyun said. He looked around the table. Very carefully. If we humiliate them, they'll hate us. If we're too aggressive, they'll fear us. Either way, we make enemies. We could lie, suggested Hyunwoo, the military commander. Tell them we're small. Hide our real strength. No, Minji said immediately. Bad idea. They'll find out eventually. Then they'll think we're sneaky and dishonest. That's worse than just being strong. Do-hyun nodded. Minji's right. We need to be honest, but we need to be gentle about it. He turned to Sora. What do you think? What's the best approach? Sora thought for a moment. Invite them to Earth. Let them see our civilization with their own eyes. Give them a tour. Show them our cities, our technology, our space infrastructure. Let them figure it out naturally. That could backfire, Hyunwoo said. When they see how big we are, they might panic. Maybe, Sora admitted. But it's better than just telling them numbers. If we say we have 50,000 warships, they'll think we're bragging or lying. If they see Mars shipyard building 200 ships at once, they'll understand it's real. Hana was nodding. And while they're here, we can talk to them. Learn about their culture, explain our history, make friends before we scare them. Minho didn't look happy. This is too soft. We should just show strength. No, Do-hyun said firmly. Sora's right. These could be our first alien friends. We're not going to ruin it by being bullies. He looked at his tablet, checking the time. We have 18 hours before they come back. Hana, prepare a diplomatic message. Invite them to Seoul for negotiations. Make it sound respectful and friendly. What if they refuse? Hana asked. They won't, Sora said confidently. Their Supreme Commander wants to see us submit. He'll come to Earth expecting a ceremony where we bow and accept his rule. When he gets here, we'll gently show him reality. Minji was making notes. We'll need security. Lots of it, but not threatening. We don't want them to feel trapped. Use regular police, not military, Do-hyun decided. Make it look normal, like this is just how Earth is. Should we limit what they see? Hyunwoo asked. Hide military bases? Keep them away from shipyards? No, Do-hyun said. No hiding. That's the whole point. We show them everything. Well, not classified technology, but the scale of human civilization. Let them see normal Earth life. Hana was typing on her tablet. I'll arrange tours of Seoul, the orbital elevator, maybe a trip to the moon base. Show them civilian infrastructure. Include Mars too, Sora suggested. Let them see a colony world. Show them how humans live across multiple systems. The meeting continued for another hour. They planned every detail, where the aliens would stay, who would talk to them, what they would see. Everyone agreed that the goal was to avoid war while being honest about human capabilities. Finally, Do-hyun stood up. Okay, we have a plan. Hana, send that invitation. Everyone else prepare for first contact. This needs to go perfectly. As people filed out of the room, Sora stayed behind. Mr. President, she said quietly, there's something else you should know. Do-hyun turned to her. What? The Valdorians are very proud. Their entire culture is built on the idea that they're the strongest civilization in space. When they learn the truth, she paused. It's going to hurt them, badly. We need to be ready for that. Do-hyun nodded slowly. You think they'll react badly? I think their Supreme Commander will feel humiliated, and humiliated people are dangerous. Sora looked worried. We need to give them a way to save face, a way to feel important even though they're smaller than us. Any suggestions? Sora smiled a little. Actually, yes. They have something we need. They've been in space for 10,000 years. They know this region of the galaxy. They probably know dozens of other alien species. They have knowledge and experience we don't have. So we offer a partnership, Do-hyun said, understanding. We give them technology and protection. They give us knowledge and connections. Exactly. That way they're not just small and weak. They're valuable. Do-hyun walked to the window. Outside, Earth looked peaceful. Cities glowed in the darkness. Orbital elevators stretched up toward the stars. Hundreds of ships moved through the traffic lanes. This was home. And tomorrow, aliens would see it for the first time. Do you think this will work? He asked Sora. She joined him at the window. I think we have a chance if we're smart, if we're kind. If we remember that being strong doesn't mean we have to be cruel. Do-hyun hoped she was right. In 18 hours, the Valdorians would return. And humanity would have to explain that they had accidentally become the biggest power in this part of space. It was going to be an interesting conversation. Supreme Commander Thexler stepped out of the shuttle and looked at Earth. The sky was blue, which was strange. His homeworld had green skies. But blue wasn't interesting. The air smelled odd, too. Lots of water in it. Ambassador Jinwoo was waiting with a smile. Welcome to Earth, Supreme Commander. Welcome to Seoul. We're honored to have you here. Thexler looked at the human. So small, only 2 arms. Soft skin with no protective scales. How did such weak creatures survive? I am here to accept your submission, he said formally. Where is your surrender ceremony? Jinwoo's smile didn't change. There's been a small misunderstanding. We invited you here to talk, not to surrender. Please come with me. We have much to show you. Thexler felt confused, but he was here now with only 20 guards. His fleet was still in orbit. Better to see what these humans wanted. Very well. Lead the way. They walked into the city. Thexler had seen cities before. Every civilized species had cities. But Seoul was different. It was huge. Buildings stretched as far as he could see. And there were so many humans. Thousands of them. Just on this one street, how many people live in this city? He asked. About 30 million in the city proper, Jinwoo said casually. Maybe 50 million in the greater metropolitan area. Thexler stopped walking. 50 million. In one city? The entire Valdorian population across 40 systems was only 3 billion. This single city had more than 1% of all Valdorians. His advisor, Keelith, whispered in his ear. Commander, that number seems impossible. Perhaps their translation is wrong. Perhaps, Thexler agreed, but he was starting to feel worried. They got into a vehicle that floated above the ground. It moved fast through the city and Thexler watched through the windows. Every street was full of humans. Every building was tall. He saw parks with thousands of people. He saw markets selling goods from hundreds of shops. He saw children playing and laughing. This is a nice city, Jinwoo said. Not the biggest on Earth, just one of many. How many cities does Earth have? Keelith asked. Hard to say. Maybe 500 major cities, thousands of smaller ones. Earth has about 11 billion people now. Used to be more, but lots of people moved to the colonies. Thexler felt cold. 11 billion people on one planet. The Valdorian Empire had spent 10,000 years spreading across 40 worlds to reach 3 billion. These humans had 11 billion on their homeworld alone. They arrived at a tall building. Very tall. Taller than anything Thexler had ever seen. This is the diplomatic center, Jinwoo explained. We'll have dinner here tonight. Meet some people. Tomorrow we can show you more of Earth. The dinner was strange. There were about 30 humans there, all acting very friendly. They asked questions about Valdorian culture. They seemed genuinely interested in the Empire's history. Thexler started to relax a little. Maybe these humans just wanted to learn before they submitted. Then the conversation turned to human history. A woman named Nari started explaining. We humans lived on Earth for a long time. About 300,000 years. We only reached space recently, just 200 years ago. Very young species, Thexler said, feeling better. The Valdorians have been in space for 10,000 years. Yes, you're much more experienced, Nari agreed. We made a lot of mistakes when we started. Built too fast. Didn't plan well. Just rushed into everything. Typical of primitive species, Thexelor said. Then he realized that might sound rude. I mean, youth brings enthusiasm, Nari smiled. That's a nice way to put it. Anyway, we spread out fast. Earth was crowded. Too many people, not enough resources. So companies started building colonies. Then countries wanted colonies too. Everyone was competing. How many colonies do you have now? Kalith asked. Well, Earth has about 400 orbital platforms for manufacturing and research. Then we have settlements on the Moon, Mars, and the asteroids in this system. Outside Sol, we have settlements in about 200 other star systems. Thexelor's drink fell from his hand. It shattered on the floor, but he didn't notice. 200 systems? Give or take, Nari said. Some are just small mining operations. Others are full colonies with millions of people. It's hard to keep exact count because new ones start every few months. The room was spinning. Thexelor tried to breathe normally. 200 systems. In 200 years. The Valdorians had 40 systems after 10,000 years. These humans had expanded 5 times faster, 500 times faster when you counted time. That's impressive, he managed to say. It's actually a bit of a mess, said Taeyang, who was sitting nearby. We don't have good coordination. Every colony does its own thing. We're trying to set up better government systems, but it's hard when everyone is so far apart. But you must have powerful infrastructure, Kalith said, to support so many colonies. Oh yeah, Taeyang said. He pulled up a hologram showing the Sol system. Just here in our home system, we have 53 major shipyards. This one at Mars is the biggest. It can build about 200 ships at the same time. Thexelor stared at the hologram. 200 ships at once, in one shipyard. The entire Valdorian Empire had 5 shipyards total, and the biggest could build 30 ships at once. What do you need so many ships for? He asked weakly. Taeyang shrugged. Trade, mostly. Moving goods between colonies. Exploring new systems. We also need to replace old ships. They wear out after 20 years or so. The Sol system alone probably has about 20,000 civilian ships operating at any time. 20,000 civilian ships. Thexelor's invincible armada of 3,000 military ships suddenly seemed very small. Dinner continued, but Thexelor barely tasted his food. Every conversation made things worse. Someone mentioned that human children studied star charts of 200 systems in school. Someone else talked about the traffic control problem with so many ships moving around Earth. A young woman showed pictures from her vacation to New Busan, a colony 15 light-years away. Everything was wrong. These humans talked about massive fleets and hundreds of colonies like it was normal, like it was boring even. They didn't brag. They didn't show off. They just casually mentioned impossible things. After dinner, Jinwoo offered to show them the observation deck. You can see the orbital traffic from there. It's quite pretty at night. They took an elevator up. When the doors opened, Thexelor saw the sky. It was full of lights. Hundreds of lights, all moving. Ships going up from Earth, ships coming down, ships moving between the orbital platforms. It was like watching a swarm of insects. Heavy traffic tonight, Jinwoo commented. There's a big trade convoy leaving for the outer colonies tomorrow. Probably 1,000 ships, just for one trade convoy. Casual, normal, nothing special. Thexelor felt something break inside him. His pride, his certainty. Everything he believed about the Valdorian Empire being the greatest power in space. It was all a lie. Or rather, it was just small. The Valdorians were proud of achievements that humans did by accident. Proud of a fleet that was smaller than a single human trade convoy. This is impossible, he said out loud. You're lying. Using tricks, holograms, this can't all be real. Jinwoo looked sad. I'm sorry, Commander. I know this is a lot to take in. We're not lying. This is really how humanity lives. We didn't mean to build so much so fast. We just did. We're primitive, Thexelor shouted. He pointed at Jinwoo. You only reached space 200 years ago. We have 10,000 years of civilization. We have wisdom. We have tradition. You're children. You're right, Jinwoo said softly. You have experience we don't have. You know things we're still learning. Your civilization is old and wise. Ours is young and reckless. Both things can be true, but Thexelor wasn't listening anymore. He turned to Keyleth. We're leaving. Call the fleet. We'll show these humans what real power looks like. We'll teach them respect. Commander, Keyleth said nervously. Perhaps we should think about this. No, I will not be humiliated by primitives. The Valdorian Empire will not bow to children. Thexler walked toward the elevator. We will summon every ship. We will show them our full might. Then they will understand who they are dealing with. Jinwoo tried to follow. Please, Commander, let's talk about this. There's no need for conflict. The time for talking is over, Thexler said. The elevator doors closed. As they rode down, Kalith whispered, Commander, what if they have more military ships than we thought? What if their fleet is as large as their civilian fleet? Thexler didn't want to think about that. Couldn't think about that. He had to believe that the Valdorian military was still superior. That their 3,000 warships perfected over millennia were better than whatever the humans had thrown together in 200 years. He had to believe it. Because if he didn't, then the Valdorian Empire was nothing. Just a small, weak nation in a galaxy much bigger than he ever imagined. And Thexler couldn't accept that. Wouldn't accept that. The Empire would prove its strength. The Empire would prevail, even if it meant war with an enemy he didn't understand. Fleet Admiral Minho was eating breakfast when the alert came through. He put down his chopsticks and read the message. Then he read it again. Are they serious? He asked out loud. His aide, Hyunwoo, nodded. The Valdorian fleet is moving into attack formation. All 3,000 ships. They're broadcasting warnings to Earth. Minho stood up and walked to the command center. It was early morning, but the room was already full of people. Everyone looked worried. Show me, he said. The main screen lit up. There, in a massive formation above Earth, was the Valdorian Armada. 3,000 ships arranged in perfect rows. They looked impressive, Minho had to admit. Very organized, very military. What are they saying? He asked. Hyunwoo pulled up the transmission. Supreme Commander Thexler appeared on screen looking angry. His crest was bright red. This is your final warning, humans. You mocked the Valdorian Empire. You tried to fool us with tricks and lies. Now you will see our true power. Surrender. Immediately or face total destruction. Minho rubbed his face. What happened? I thought the diplomatic visit went well. According to Ambassador Jinwoo, the commander saw Seoul and couldn't handle it, Hyunwoo explained. He thinks we were lying about our capabilities. Thinks we're using holograms or something. Now he wants to prove Valdorian superiority. By attacking Earth. By threatening to attack Earth, Hyunwoo corrected. He hasn't fired yet. Minho looked at the Valdorian formation again. 3,000 warships. It should have been threatening. Instead, it just looked sad, like a child throwing a tantrum. We need to respond, Hyunwoo said. Show strength. Let them know we can defend ourselves. No, Minho said slowly. We need to be very careful here. If we're too aggressive, we'll start a real war. And these Valdorians, they're not bad people. They're just confused. They're threatening our homeworld. They're embarrassed, Minho said. Their pride is hurt. So they're trying to prove something. He thought for a moment. Send a message to all colonies. Alert status. Request that any available ships move to Earth's region. But tell them to come peacefully. No weapons charged. No aggressive formations. Just show up. Hyunwoo looked confused. Sir, we don't need colony fleets. The home defense fleet can handle. I know we don't need them, Minho interrupted. But the Valdorians need to see something. They need to understand reality. Gently. You want to scare them. I want to educate them, Minho said. There's a difference. Now send the message. The alert went out across human space. Earth needed ships. Not for war, just for presence. Just to show up. The response was immediate. New Seoul colony transmitted first. 400 ships departing now. Arrival in 2 hours. Nova Mumbai was next. 600 ships on the way. African Union colonies sent their combined fleet. 900 ships. Europa Station, New Shanghai, New Berlin, Nova Tokyo. Every major colony responded. Corporate fleets came too. Mining companies sent their big haulers. Transport companies sent their cargo ships with defensive weapons. Even, some civilian ships volunteered, though Minho told them to stay back. Within an hour, Human ships started arriving. They didn't form attack formations. They didn't charge weapons. They just appeared, one group at a time, and waited quietly around the Valdorian fleet. Minho watched the tactical display. Blue icons for human ships. Red icons for Valdorian ships. More blue icons appeared every few minutes. The numbers climbed steadily. 4,000 human ships, then 6,000, then 8,000. On the Valdorian command ship, Supreme Commander Thexilor was watching the same thing. His 4 eyes were wide, his hands were shaking. "Where are they coming from?" he asked Keyleth. "Everywhere, Commander, different colonies, different systems, they're still coming. 10,000 human ships, 12,000, 14,000. "They're not attacking," Keyleth said quietly. "They're just surrounding us." The Valdorian fleet, 3,000 ships strong, was now completely encircled by human vessels, and more kept coming. Big ships, small ships, military ships, civilian ships, all of them just floating there, waiting. "This isn't possible," Thexilor whispered. "No one has this many ships. No one." "Commander," Keyleth said carefully, "I don't think they were lying. I think they really are this big." Thexilor looked at his tactical display. 16,000 human ships now, almost 6 times his entire fleet. And they were still arriving. A transmission came through. Minho's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired, but not angry. "Supreme Commander Thexilor, this is Fleet Admiral Minho of the United Earth Defense Force. We have a problem. You dare threaten the Empire?" Thexilor shouted, but his voice was shaking. "No one is threatening anyone," Minho said calmly. "These ships are here because your fleet made them nervous. They're just colonists mostly, worried about Earth. They came to help defend their home." "Lies, this is your military fleet. Commander, most of my military fleet is still at their regular posts. These are colony defense forces, corporate security, and armed civilians. Just local response. 18,000 human ships, 20,000. Thexilor felt like he was drowning. 20,000 ships, from dozens of different colonies and companies, all arriving within hours. The humans had just casually summoned a fleet 7 times larger than his entire empire's military, and the human admiral said this wasn't even their real fleet, just locals who showed up to help. "How?" Thexilor asked weakly. "How do you have so many ships?" Minho sighed. "Commander, we tried to explain. Humanity grew very fast. We built a lot of infrastructure. We have more ships than we really need, honestly. It's kind of a problem. But that's how we are." Another group of ships appeared. The tactical display updated. 22,000 human vessels. "We're outnumbered 7 to 1, Keyleth whispered, "and they haven't even used their military." "What do you want?" Thexilor asked. His pride was gone now. Only fear remained. "What will you do to us?" Minho looked sad. "Nothing, Commander. We don't want to fight you. We never did. These ships are just here to make sure you don't do something you'll regret." A young human appeared on another screen. Yuna, from the orbital station. She looked concerned. "Supreme Commander, I'm sorry this happened. This is all a big misunderstanding. Can we please just talk about this? No one needs to get hurt." Thexilor looked at his own tactical display. His 3,000 ships, the pride of the Valdorian Empire, were tiny specks in a sea of human vessels. He could order an attack. His ships would fight bravely, and they would lose. Badly. 10,000 years of Valdorian civilization. 10,000 years of careful expansion and military tradition. And it meant nothing against a species that accidentally built too many ships because they were kind of a problem. "Stand down," Thexilor said quietly. "Commander?" Keyleth asked. "Stand down." Thexilor's voice was louder now, but broken. "Order all ships to power down weapons. Lower shields. We surrender." "You don't have to surrender," Minho said quickly. "We're not conquering you. We just want peace." But Thexilor wasn't listening. He was staring at the tactical display where human ships surrounded his fleet like adults watching children play. The Valdorian Empire, the great power of this region, the civilization that had ruled for 10 millennia. They were nothing. A small nation in a big galaxy. And these young, primitive, impossible humans had shown them that truth in the kindest way possible. By simply existing, Thexler closed his 4 eyes. Open a private channel to the human admiral. I need to talk. When the channel opened, only Minho could hear him. Admiral, what happens now? Will you destroy us? Conquer our worlds? Minho looked genuinely surprised. What? No. Commander, we're not conquering anyone. We barely know how to manage our own colonies. Why would we want yours? Then what do you want? Minho smiled a little. Honestly, we want to be friends. We want to learn from you. You've been in space for 10,000 years. You know things we don't. You've met other species. You understand galactic politics. We need that knowledge. You want to learn from us? Thexler couldn't believe it. We're tiny compared to you. You're experienced, Minho said. That's valuable. Maybe we can help each other. You teach us about the galaxy. We share some technology, help upgrade your infrastructure. Partners, not enemies. Thexler thought about it. His pride was wounded. His ego was destroyed. But maybe this didn't have to be the end. Maybe it could be a beginning. I need to think, he said finally. Can you give me time? Of course, Minho said. Take all the time you need. The ships will stay here, but they won't threaten you. Just think of them as concerned neighbors. 22,000 concerned neighbors, Thexler thought. But he nodded. Thank you, Admiral. The channel closed. Thexler sat in his command chair and looked at his fleet, his brave, proud, tiny fleet. Maybe it was time to stop pretending they were the biggest power in space. Maybe it was time to learn from people who were bigger. Even if those people were young, reckless humans who built too many ships by accident, maybe being small wasn't the end. Maybe it was just the beginning of something new. 3 days later, Thexler sat in a quiet room in Seoul with Captain Jihu. No guards, no formalities, just 2 people talking. I don't understand you humans, Thexler said. He sounded tired but not angry anymore. You could have destroyed my fleet easily. Why didn't you? Jihu poured tea for both of them. Because we didn't want to. Why would we destroy you? You hadn't actually attacked anyone. I threatened your homeworld. You were scared and embarrassed, Jihu said gently. We understood that. Making threats when you're scared is natural. Actually following through is different. Thexler picked up his teacup with one hand. The warm drink smelled nice. On my world, showing weakness means death. Strong nations conquer weak ones. That's how the galaxy works. Maybe that's how parts of the galaxy work, Jihu said. But Earth was different. We spent thousands of years fighting each other. Humans killed humans over land, resources, religion, pride. So many wars. So much death. And you stopped? We got tired, Jihu said simply. Tired of fighting. Tired of dying. So we tried something new. We tried talking, sharing, working together. It doesn't always work. We still argue a lot. But we try. There was a knock on the door. Sora came in with her tablet. Supreme Commander, I have information you requested. About human history and expansion. She sat down and showed him charts and graphs. This is Earth's population over time. See how it jumped up after we discovered medicine and agriculture? By the year 2000, we had 6 billion people. By 2100, we had 10 billion. Our planet was getting crowded. So you colonized to solve overpopulation, Thexler said. Partly, but also because we're restless. Humans get bored easily. We always want to see what's over the next hill, across the next ocean, beyond the next star. Sora showed another graph. This is our expansion rate. See how fast it is? Most of this happened because corporations were competing with each other. They wanted to claim territory before their rivals did. Countries did the same thing. Everyone was rushing to grab the best systems. It's chaos, Thexler said. Yes, Sora agreed. Complete chaos. We're still trying to organize it all. We have 3 different colonial governments, 2 corporate alliances, and about 50 independent colonies that won't join anyone. It's a mess. Thexler studied the information. The Valdorian expansion had been careful, planned, organized, slow but steady. The human expansion was wild, uncontrolled, fast. 2 completely different approaches. Your empire is 10,000 years old, Sora said. That's amazing. You know how to govern, how to maintain order across many systems, how to make different species work together. We need that knowledge. But you don't need our military, Thexler said bitterly. We need your wisdom more than weapons, Jihu said. Commander, can I tell you what I think humanity's biggest problem is? What? We grew too fast. We're like children who got very big, very quickly. Strong body, young mind. We have all this power and technology, but we don't know how to use it responsibly. We need teachers, guides, people who have been in space longer than us. President Do-hyun entered the room. Supreme Commander, thank you for meeting with us again. I hope you've had time to think. Thexler stood up respectfully. I have, Mr. President, and I have questions. You said you want partnership. What does that mean? Do-hyun sat down. It means we help each other. We share what we have. You have knowledge of the galaxy, relationships with other species, experience in governance. We have industrial capacity, new technology, resources. Together we're stronger than apart. You want us to be your ambassadors to the galaxy, Thexler said, understanding. We want you to be our friends, Do-hyun corrected, and yes, to introduce us to other civilizations. We're going to meet more aliens eventually. Better to meet them with a guide than to stumble around making mistakes. Defense Minister Minji pulled up a contract on the big screen. We've prepared a proposal. The Valdorian Empire and the United Earth government would form an alliance. Key points. We provide technology upgrades for your ships and infrastructure. We establish trade agreements. We offer a mutual defense pact. In exchange, you help us understand galactic politics and make connections with other species. Thexler read through the document carefully. It was generous. Too generous. Why are you offering so much? You could just take what you want. Because that's not how good relationships work, Do-hyun said. If we force you, you'll resent us. If we treat you fairly, maybe you'll actually want to work with us. Keyleth, who had been quiet, finally spoke. Commander, I think we should accept. The Empire has been isolated for too long. This could be good for our people. Thexler thought about his empire. 40 systems. 3 billion Valdorians. Good people who worked hard and followed traditions. They deserved a better future, and maybe this alliance could give them that. I have conditions, he said. Name them, Do-hyun replied. First, the Empire remains independent. We join as equals, not as subjects, agreed. We're allies, not rulers. Second, technology transfer must go both ways. You teach us your advancements. We teach you ours. Share knowledge equally. That's fair, Minji said. We actually want to learn from you. Your ships are older but more efficient than ours in some ways. Third, Thexler continued, when you meet other species, you treat them with respect, even if they're smaller or weaker than you. What happened to us shouldn't happen to others. Do-hyun nodded seriously. We promise. And if we start acting like bullies, you have permission to tell us we're being stupid. That made Thexler laugh. A real laugh for the first time since coming to Earth. You actually mean that, don't you? We have a saying on Earth, Jihu said. Power corrupts, and we need people to keep us honest. To remind us not to become the bad guys. Thexler looked at his advisor. Keyleth nodded. We accept your alliance, President Do-hyun. The Valdorian Empire will be humanity's friend. Everyone in the room relaxed. Sora smiled. Minji started making notes about implementation. Do-hyun shook Thexler's hand, then realized the alien had 4 hands and tried to shake those too, which made everyone laugh. Later that evening, Thexler and Jihu stood on an observation deck, looking at Earth below. The planet was beautiful, covered in lights from millions of cities and towns. Can I ask you something personal? Jihu said. Yes. When you first saw how big humanity was, how did you really feel? Thexler was quiet for a moment, terrified. My entire life, I believed the Valdorian Empire was the greatest power in space. I was proud of what we achieved. Then I came here and learned we were small, insignificant. It felt like my whole identity was a lie. You're not insignificant, Jihu said firmly. You built a civilization that lasted 10,000 years. You spread across 40 systems with limited resources. You created art, culture, government, science. That's incredible. Don't measure yourself by ship counts. But you have so many more ships. We also have more problems, Jihu laughed. More arguments, more conflicts, more chaos. Being big doesn't mean being better. It just means being big. They watched Earth turn slowly below them. Space traffic moved around the planet in endless streams, ships coming and going, carrying goods and people to hundreds of different destinations. Your empire is young, Thexelor said. Fast-growing, chaotic like a storm that covers the galaxy. Is that bad? No, Thexelor said thoughtfully. Just different. Maybe the galaxy needs a storm sometimes, to shake things up, to change old ways. He looked at Jihu. And maybe the storm needs old wisdom to guide it, so it doesn't destroy everything. Partners, Jihu said. Partners, Thexelor agreed. Far above them, the Valdorian fleet and human ships were mixing now, sharing data and communications. Valdorian officers were touring human vessels. Human engineers were examining Valdorian technology. Two civilizations learning from each other. In the diplomatic center, Yuna was showing Valdorian soldiers around Seoul. They were amazed by everything. The crowds, the food, the technology. But they were laughing too, taking pictures, trying human drinks. Making friends. Ambassador Jinwoo was already planning the next steps. Introducing humanity to other species, setting up embassies, creating trade routes. There was so much to do. President Do Yun was in another meeting, this time with colony representatives. They weren't all happy about the alliance. Some wanted to stay isolated. Some didn't trust aliens. But they were talking, arguing, debating. That was the human way. And somewhere in the Valdorian Empire, people were hearing the news. Earth existed. Humanity existed. And they weren't conquerors. They were potential friends. The galaxy was suddenly much bigger and more interesting. Back on the observation deck, Thexelor finished his tea. Jihu, can I tell you something funny? Sure. When I first arrived at Earth, I thought your species name was strange. Humanity. It sounds soft. Weak. Not like a proper warrior race. We're definitely not warriors, Jihu agreed. But I understand now. Thexelor continued. Humanity. It means being kind even when you're strong. It means choosing peace even when you could win wars. It means helping others even when you don't have to. He looked at the human captain. Your species named themselves after their best quality. That's very humanity of you, Jihu smiled. That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us. They stood together, watching ships move through the night. An alien and a human, representatives of two very different civilizations.